Thank you for joining us today for Cape Chronicle. I'm Audra Kane. This week, Director of Outreach Brian Tapp will be by to talk with us about the Institute for Innovation and Entrepreneurship's efforts to foster small business in our area. Southeast Health has welcomed a new CEO this year, Kenneth Bateman, and we'll have an opportunity to ask him about their efforts to control healthcare costs for the hospital, but more importantly, for you. And Blanchard Elementary School has been recognized with a prestigious award on the national level. Principal Dr. Barbara Kohlfeld will outline for us how that came about. That's all ahead on Cape Chronicle.
Whether it's for business or just a getaway, Cape Air is your wings in the Midwest. Cape Air serves 6 destinations, including Kirksville, Quincy, Fort Leonard Wood, Cape Girardeau, Marion, and Owensboro. Fly from Cape Girardeau to St. Louis with fares starting at just $49 each way. With easy connections through Lambert St. Louis International Airport, Cape Air connects you to the Midwest and the world. Book today at capeair.com or call 800-CAPE-AIR and enjoy the ride.
Welcome to Cape Chronicle. I'm Audra Kane. The Institute for Regional Innovation and Entrepreneurship at Southeast Missouri State University has created a place for small businesses to think big and find guidance in starting out on their own. Director of Outreach Brian Tapp is here to tell us just how they are helping. Thank you for coming, Brian.
Thanks for having us.
So the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship is a place to foster small business. So what type of services do you all offer?
So we focus on a variety of different services directly for small businesses. We're looking at whether we provide data and research for those companies coming in. We look at developing business plans, and that's probably 80% of what we do directly for small businesses. And then also providing them some guidance. We consider ourselves knowledge brokers. So we really work with the company, discuss where they're at, and if we don't have the answers, we're going to go find it statewide through our network. So it's really a three-prong approach that we take.
Okay, so if you could name one thing, the most important thing that a potential small business owner can do, what is it?
We have statistics that show that if you plan for your business, you're going to be 30% greater growth with that. And typically, a lot of folks will come in a little bit too late on the business plan, and that's really kind of an issue. So we really try to work with them up front. And it doesn't have to be just a new startup. It could be somebody who's looking to expand in a second phase. Let's plan that whole thing out and see where you can go with that.
So when you say plan, what exactly does that mean?
So we sit down with a client. We typically for probably 2 hours at a time, and we sit down and we go through an entire structure, who their competition is, what their business focus is, what their strengths and market niche might be, and really lay that out. And then we get to the fun part, which is the financials, right? We identify how those financials work and really provide actually sometimes financial literacy to some folks. They may be great at making something, but the finance side may be a little bit of an issue for them. And that's nothing to be afraid of. It happens all the time. I bet you 80% of the people we work with really are good at doing something, but don't know that financial side. And we really try to make them feel more at ease with, hey, you can outsource that, you could look at different things with it.
Okay, so finances and a business plan. For my local startup, do I take classes at your offices? Can I do that online? How does that work exactly?
So we typically work with, there can be classes. We'll have classes starting this winter in January with a new startup class. We do some lunch and learns once in a while. We'll have folks that we meet with, but really what we're doing is we meet with them one-on-one. So for example, if you came in and talked to us and said, I've got this idea, we typically will do, like we call it the intake. We'll do it for an hour. We'll talk about your business. We'll do a little research. We've got 3 of us working with you at the same time. We're mining information from you, putting it in, and actually checking out websites while we're talking to you for different products, different markets. Then what we do is a second follow-up phase will be probably a 2-hour phase where we're really getting into the nuts and bolts with that. So really the training is one, we're learning about the business idea, concept, or expansion, and working with you there. So it's more one-on-one with us. 1-on-3 actually with us. So it's great.
That's great, 1-on-3.
Yep.
So you mentioned research. You all do research for small businesses?
Absolutely. We have two different products. We use three different products actually. We use one that does a lot of market analysis, retail trade analysis data sets that we have. We can actually take your business and go from a 5-minute, 10-minute, 30-minute driving time, or we can base it off a radius as far as mileage goes too, and see what that market looks like for whatever that market niche is for you. Let's say it's retail. We can look at that specifically. We actually did some data, some deep dives, and we can actually tell you how many people are taking B12 vitamins in Perry County in 2015. It's crazy the amount of detail that they have based on sales.
That is a lot of detail.
It sure is.
How do small business owners connect, or potential small business owners connect with the center? So
they can contact us. We have our general number at the office there. I can give that here in a minute. But then we also have our innovationmic.com and .org. They can go on that. Missouri Innovation Corporation's our overall brand, but we do have the institute based on the CMO's website, so they can contact us through that website, innovationmic.org.
Innovationmic.org. Okay.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much, Brian. That's all some great information for potential small business owners here and current small business owners here in the Southeast Missouri area.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming by, Brian.
Thank you.
We've been talking with the Institute for Regional Innovation and Entrepreneurship Director of Outreach, Brian Tapp. On the way next, healthcare costs and how to remain connected with rural medical patients are the topics for Southeast Health's new CEO, Kenneth Bateman. Stay tuned for more of Cape Chronicle.
Not all classrooms are created equal. You can't just learn about life, you have to do it. At Southeast Missouri State University, we can't wait to see what you do.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
At Southeast Missouri State University, you're here for more than a degree. You're here to do whatever it takes. We don't just learn from textbooks. We learn from each other. That's why we tackle our challenges, fuel innovation, and never settle. We're giving you the tools to learn, to lead, to grow, to do.
Welcome back to Cape Chronicle. Finding quality health care is not always easy, and paying for it is oftentimes even harder. And the new Southeast Health Chief Executive Officer, Kenneth Bateman, is not shying away from searching for better and more effective ways to keep costs down. Kenneth, thanks so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Well, you're so welcome. You came here from New Jersey, correct?
Correct.
So how does Southeast Missouri, both the area and the hospital system, compare with New Jersey?
Okay. Well, there's not as much difference as you would think. When I was interviewing for the position back in December, several people asked me during that process, how do you feel about moving from New Jersey to Missouri? So after about the fourth person asking me that, I decided maybe I should look into Missouri to see where am I moving to, which I had already done some research. But I lived in central New Jersey, which is a pretty rural part of the state, and the county that I lived in particular was very rural. So not a lot of dissimilarities. Actually, there's a lot more here in Cape than there was where I lived back in New Jersey. You've got a tremendous university here in the city. You've got a casino. you've got 2 excellent hospitals, you've got a great school system, you've got probably every food establishment that you could think of, and you're only 2 hours from St. Louis. So when I looked at the transition, I really saw it as a very minor transition. In terms of healthcare, I think the big difference is just the access to physicians and to people, because in New Jersey, I was in a state of 8 million people and not far from Manhattan, which had another 8 million people. So trying to recruit physicians and recruit people was much easier than it is out here, where in a lot of cases you're finding people that grew up here, have roots here, want to come back here. But nevertheless, you know, it's a very robust market to work in, and a lot of things going on in Cape.
Very true. Not going to disagree with you. So what do you feel that the Southeast Health System, because there are a lot of accolades that Southeast Health has achieved, what do those signify where hospital quality and care are concerned?
Well, in terms of some of the accolades, that was one of the things that attracted me to Southeast. When I looked at this opportunity, I certainly heard and read a lot about their financial issues in 2014. That didn't concern me because they can be fixed. What I was really focused on was quality. If an organization has a quality issue, that's a much deeper problem to try and fix. So as I did research on some of the quality metrics with Southeast, I found that it is a top quality hospital. And this year, that's been borne out with some of the accolades that we've received. The American College of Cardiology gave us their 2015 Platinum Performance Award, meaning that we hit all of their metrics for the last 8 quarters or 2 years in a row. There's only about 319 hospitals, I believe, across the country that received that award out of about 5,000 hospitals. Also recently, we were just informed that we are going to be in the edition that's just coming out for U.S. News and World Report of top hospitals for our neurology program, received their Silver Plus recognition for our neurology program. Our home health agency, CMS, they rate home health agencies, and ours was rated a 4.5 star out of 5-star program. So there's a lot of third-party corroboration that the quality at Southeast Health is very strong. So, you know, coming from New Jersey, one of the big differences was really I was impressed with some of the procedures and technology that is deployed here at Southeast Health, such as TAVR surgery, such as cardiac surgery, robotic surgery. These are procedures that you usually only find in some of the biggest academic centers. So to have that here in a local community hospital is really outstanding.
Now, you mentioned finances. What changes, if any, have you noticed, or have you made plans to put in place to improve upon the situation that was being experienced at Southeast Health in 2014?
Right. Well, 2014 was largely, the majority of it was a billing system conversion issue. And that started in the 3rd quarter, or the 4th quarter actually, of 2013. And that rolled into 14. And so for that period, the organization struggled getting their bills out the door. It's not a secret, we've been dealing with it. And I think we pretty much have that coming to a conclusion in terms of getting our billing system and our revenue cycle working well. So that improvement alone has helped us to drive a positive bottom line. There are certainly other cost initiatives that I wanted to take a look at as well. So this year, for example, our payroll is down about $12 million on an annualized basis compared to the prior year. Our cash collections is up about $25 million compared to the prior year. Our benefit cost is down about $2 million. Our supply cost is going to be down about $2 million. So we really took a look at, we had an opportunity to take a look at how do we lower the cost of healthcare. That's where we need to be positioned for the future of Southeast Health. Everybody wants to see lower cost of healthcare. And so this year alone, we're probably $12 to $14 million of total expense reduction. The challenge is, when you talk to people in the public, they always say, well, when are we going to see the reduced cost of healthcare? So I think, from my perspective as a CEO of a hospital, I think a lot of people are looking at the answer, they're asking the wrong question. A lot of times the public will focus on the charges at a hospital. Or they'll focus on premium increases, and they'll translate that into that's the rising cost of a hospital. So to give you an example, in 2013 and 14, we weren't getting bills out the door in time. So when we processed the bills, a lot of those bills were denied by the insurance companies because we didn't file the claims timely. And that was a huge adjustment that the organization took. but I would guess that if you asked any employer in the last year, did they see their premium go down as a result of not paying us? My guess would be the answer would be no, their premiums did not go down, despite the fact that we had significant write-offs as a result of not being paid. On another example, we get on an annual basis probably an average of about a 3% increase in rates from managed care. Medicare is pretty much a flat program because between the 1% that they may give you, there's other programs that have penalties associated. So your Medicare revenue is relatively flat. But from the insurance companies, you're probably averaging 3%. And again, if you asked employers, when was the last time you saw a 3% increase in your insurance premiums or less? Probably not that often. So what I really think is the answer to driving the cost of healthcare down is you've got to have insurance plan design change. You've got to design the plans where the employee has a choice to make in terms of how much they're willing to spend for the cost of their health care. So as an example, right now, you probably have an insurance plan that maybe your copay is $50, maybe your deductible is $1,000, but you can go anywhere. Regardless of the cost of that facility, you can go anywhere for that same $50. So you don't have to make a decision on, well, why am I choosing one over the other? You don't have to do the analysis of quality or cost. You just know it's going to cost you $50. But if the plan was designed, if you go to this facility and it's a high quality, low cost facility, it costs you $50, okay, that's fine. But if you go to another facility and the cost is significantly higher, your copay on that facility goes from $50 to $100 or $150, you might make a different choice. That would force providers then to have to figure out how are they going to lower their cost so that they can be competitive to the employee. I'll just give you another kind of analogy. If an employer was to say, we've got a program where you can buy a television for $100, no matter what TV you buy, and you walk into Best Buy and you know you can spend $100 because that's your out of pocket for any TV, what's the likelihood you're going to walk out with a 25-inch TV versus a 70-inch TV? You're going to probably walk out with the 70-inch TV because it didn't cost you anything different than the 25-inch TV. So that's where I think I'm trying to position Southeast Health to get their costs down so that when insurance change happens at the employer level with the employees, I think insurance is going to move toward a tiered system where tier 1 may be whoever goes into these providers, you're going to pay far less than the tier 2, the tier 3, and the tier 4. So that still gives you the choice to go to anywhere you want, but depending upon the cost of that facility, you may pay a little more for that privilege. And I'll just give you one last example.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Again, it would be no different than people selecting a hotel on vacation. If you knew that it was going to cost you $50 to go to Bob's Motel, roadside motel versus Ritz-Carlton, you would probably select the Ritz-Carlton. So you've got to put that cost factor into the insurance plan because the high copay and deductibles are unsustainable. The cost of healthcare is unsustainable. So you got to bring together the employee, the employer, and managed care.
I think that you are saying exactly what people want to hear from the person who runs the hospital. Bring the costs in the hospital down so that when it's time to make those provider decisions, those insurance decisions, it meets the needs of the patients as well as the hospital. That's fantastic. That's what people want to know.
Because I can tell you right now, I can cut my cost in half, but that doesn't mean your cost is going to be cut in half because insurance companies don't price premiums to me, they price premiums to a market. And so the market has to become more competitive. And again, that's where I think you've got to get the employee as involved with their cost of care as the employer, as managed care.
Well, thank you. So that is all great information, and it's good to know that you're working from your end to make it easier for all of the rest of us. Thank you so much for coming by. This has been very enlightening. So we've been talking with healthcare with Southeast Health Chief Executive Officer Kenneth Bateman. Thank you so much again for coming. Next up on Cape Chronicle, Dr. Barbara Colfelt will share the story of a blue ribbon and how children's achievements played into receiving a national award for Blanchard Elementary. Stay tuned.
They say you only regret the things you don't do. At Southeast Missouri State University, we wouldn't know, because doing is what we do best. Here, alarm clocks thunder like starting guns. And working harder comes second only to working smarter. And there is no secret to success, only the will to do. Tomorrow's nurses, doctors, engineers, artists, and entrepreneurs don't just go here. They train here, explore here, fail here, pick themselves up and do whatever it takes to succeed out there. We act for good. We play for pride. And when we're not sure what to do next, we learn from those who have done it all before. Why do we do it? Because if seeing is believing, imagine what you'll discover from doing.
This is Cape Chronicle, and I'm Audra Kane. Elementary school kids are working harder than ever before to achieve their personal goals. And Blanchard Elementary School Principal Dr. Barbara Kohlfeld can tell you that setting goals and achieving them can reap colorful rewards. Welcome, Dr. Kohlfeld.
Thank you so much.
It's so nice to see you again. Now, you recently returned from a presentation of the National Blue Ribbon Award for Blanchard Elementary, of which you are the principal. So how and where was it presented?
Well, we were in Washington, D.C., and it was on November 9th and 10th at the Omni Shoreham Hotel. And there were meetings and ceremonies throughout the 2 days to recognize all the schools that had come to Washington, D.C. to receive the National Blue Ribbon.
Okay, so now you say all the schools that had come. How many schools receive a National Blue Ribbon Award?
There were 285 public schools from throughout the 50 states, and there were 50 private schools throughout the country.
That's amazing, because that's not very many.
That's not very many.
There are thousands and thousands of elementary schools.
We Googled
in America.
that, and as of 2011, there are more than 132,000 schools when you think of public and private.
Oh my goodness. So you are definitely in an elite class. Now, why did Blanchard receive this award?
Because we're awesome.
Now, I knew that. But what are the details behind the award?
Well, they look at all the schools, and it's the kind of award that I don't know that you could aspire to receive it, because it's the highest award you could get, and it would be elusive to imagine this. You have to work really hard, and they look at your test scores. And they looked at our test scores in the state tests for the last 3 years and to see how we did. And we did really, really well. And we did really well in all the groups. You know, we have different groups. They look at all the students and see how they did. They look at our white students as a group, they look at our black students as a group, and they look at our free and reduced lunch students as a group. And they want to see that everybody is succeeding, that everybody is excelling, and everybody has high student achievement. And we were able to demonstrate that. So that was the key thing of us being considered. Last fall, in 2015, well, actually it was 2014, last fall, Dr. Welker came and he told us that Missouri had picked us, chosen us, as one of 8 2015 Missouri Gold Star schools. So that was the first honor we received.
Okay, so what is a Gold Star school?
Well, it's the same thing. It's exemplary achievement. So they picked 8 schools throughout the state. Most of them are located in St. Louis area, and historically most of them are located in St. Louis area. And we were one of 8 of the 2015 Missouri Gold Star schools. And then when you get that, you are able to apply for the 2015 National Blue Ribbon School, which goes from state to national. And it was a humongous application process that we did.
So like a lot of paperwork?
Lots and lots of paperwork. They want to see all your data. They want to talk about your culture, your leadership, your curriculum, your instructional strategies, everything you could imagine of the workings of a school they want to know about. So it's myself and 7 teachers spent weeks and weeks and weeks submitting this, and then we pressed the button and sent it electronically to them, And then we waited and waited and waited until we found out that we had made it.
Now, did the kids know about this? Did the
Oh,
parents
my.
know about this?
Oh, yes. We talk about it all the time.
Oh, okay. So how did they feel about this achievement? Did you hear from parents? Were the kids elated?
Everybody, you know, when you do a job and it's well done and then it's recognized, it's really important to celebrate and to make it well known because it makes everybody so happy. And I know recently we had a music program with the 3rd and 4th graders and I talked about it. And I looked out in the crowd of all these hundreds of parents who'd come to see their children perform the music program. I could see how proud and happy they were. So the more you talk about it, the better it is because it makes everybody very joyful.
So what will you do going forward? Because I know that you're not the type to rest on your laurels after this victory.
Yes. Well, you can get it once every 5 years.
Okay.
So the odds of us, you know, would have to wait. And like I said, it's such a small number of schools. So we just want to keep every year improving on our scores from year to year. And as you reach higher heights, it becomes, of course, more difficult because you're already up there. And that's what we strive for. And we talk about it all the time. We prepare our kids really, really well. The main thing that we work on, the main thing, you know, Stephen Covey said the main thing is keep the main thing the main thing. Mm-hmm. And we do that, and that is reading. So all the boys and girls know that reading is the most important thing that we do. And we want all of our, this sounds really lofty, but we want all of our kids reading above grade level.
Above grade level?
Yes.
Okay.
And the kids all know that because I'll say, if you're a 4th grader, how should you be reading? They'll say, like a 5th grader. So we talk a lot about the goals, the expectations, and about how, you know, we can do it because we're super sweet and we're super smart. And our kids are extremely well behaved. They want to learn, they have a will to work hard, and our staff is just the best of the best of the best.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Kohlfeld. You work very hard to bring the youth of America up to the top level and achieve more than just a participation award. And thank you for joining us today for Cape Chronicle. The program is a collaboration between the Department of Mass Media at Southeast Missouri State University, the City of Cape Girardeau, and River Radio Group, comprised of 93.9 The River, K103, KZIM, KSIM, Real Rock, 99.3, and SEMO ESPN. Our executive producer is Dr. Jim Dufek. I'm Audra Kane. Thank you for watching.